Class 5, what's for dinner? Here is an overview of Class 5.
Activity 1, Parent Share. Activity 1, Parent Share, was first presented in Class 1, Activity 2, so we'll begin this walkthrough with Activity 2. If you are new to teaching the AKA Science curriculum or would like a refresher, please see the video guide for that class. Activity 1, Parent Share. Activity 1, Parent Share, was first presented in Class 1, Activity 2, so we'll begin this walkthrough with Activity 2. If you are new to teaching the AKA Science curriculum or would like a refresher, please see the video guide for that class.
Activity 2, Frog Tongue. This activity is linked to a survey question as found in the printed curriculum. The goal of this activity is to use model frog tongues to investigate how they are adapted for catching flies. This activity will be done in pairs. Give each student a party blowout with a Velcro circle attached to the end and 5 small pieces of felt. A step-by-step guide to constructing these frog tongues can be found in the prep guide for this class. Tell students that they will use their frog tongues to pick up felt flies. The Velcro acts as an use their frog tongues to pick up felt flies. The Velcro acts as an adhesive just like real frog tongues. Give the students a few minutes to try to pick up as many flies as possible as quickly as they can. Activity 3, Eating Contest. This activity is linked to a survey question as found in the printed curriculum. The goal of this activity is to compare and contrast how different model bird beaks are better adapted to eating specific kinds of food. This activity will be done in groups of 4. In each group, tell the students that they will be given a different model bird beak, a fork, a spoon, tweezers, and a mini clothespin. Distribute the 4 beaks as well as 4 Ziploc bags to each group. Assign 1 model beak to each student, either randomly or amongst themselves. During prep for this class, 4 stations should have been set up around the classroom. More detailed instructions of setting up these stations can be found in the prep section of Class 3. These stations should consist of paper plates with 1 type of model food, vials of rice, which must be opened, loose rice, yarn, and marbles. Give each group 30 seconds to collect as much food as possible using their model beak in a plastic bag. After 30 seconds, have students return their food to the station. Rotate the groups until each group has visited each station. Hand each group a beak types worksheet. Each group will either have a land bird or a water bird worksheet. After they have filled the worksheet out, compare answers with a different group before moving on to the next activity. Make sure to keep the plates and Ziploc bags for the next activity. Activity 4, Owl Pellets. This activity is linked to a survey question as found in the printed curriculum. The goal of this activity is to dissect real-life owl pellets to learn more about what owls eat. This activity will be done partially in pairs and partially in groups of 4. Before distributing materials, make sure to cover the student's workspace in newspaper. Then, give a paper plate and 4 rounded toothpicks to each pair. In larger groups of 4, distribute tweezers, a magnifying lens, a pipette, and a 9-ounce cup 1/4 of the way full of water that they will share between the 2 pairs. Lastly, give each individual student a pair of gloves. Once students are prepared, give each pair an owl pellet. Using the toothpicks to separate the composite parts of the pellet, instruct students to organize the pellet components into distinct piles, a bone pile, a fur pile, etc. Note that the pellets can be rehydrated with a pipette and water to make dissection easier. Have students discuss the contents of the pellets in pairs, then in larger groups. Invite them to draw conclusions about an owl's diet. After discussion, pass out a rodent skeleton worksheet to each pair, which they can then use to compare the bones they found. Once every pair has completed the activity, carefully discard all materials. Bones can be brought home in Ziploc bags only if your site manager has received explicit parental permission. Disinfect all surfaces and students. Activity 4, stringing it together. The goal of this activity is to visualize the flow of energy through an ecosystem using a ball of yarn. This activity will be done as a group. To begin, organize students into a circle. Give each student a name tag and hand a ball of yarn to the student whose name tag says sun. Instruct the student to toss the ball of yarn to a student with the grass or berry name tag. Guide students in tossing the ball of yarn to a student who either eats them or is eaten by them. Choose a random student. Have the student drop their piece of yarn to simulate the removal of their organism from the food web. Discuss the results with the class. Activity 5, blending in. The goal of this activity is to investigate how predators and prey use camouflage by racing to pick up different color paper from a background color. This activity will be done in pairs. Give each pair a sheet of white construction paper, 10 small white rectangles, and 10 small black rectangles. In each pair, have one student close their eyes while the other randomly places the rectangles on the white construction paper. On the count of 3, have the students open their eyes and give them 10 seconds to quickly pick up as many rectangles as possible. Then count the number of black versus white rectangles. Switch roles and repeat the activity. After every student has done both roles, give each pair a cotton ball to compare how it looks over the black and white backgrounds. Give each pair 10 assorted colorful rectangles. Using the new colorful rectangles, repeat the previous activity twice. Using the new colorful rectangles, repeat the previous activity twice, first selecting for white rectangles, then selecting for the colorful ones. Lastly, pass out a large sheet of construction paper. Repeat the activity again using the green background.
Activity 1, Parent Share. Activity 1, Parent Share, was first presented in Class 1, Activity 2, so we'll begin this walkthrough with Activity 2. If you are new to teaching the AKA Science curriculum or would like a refresher, please see the video guide for that class.